name is Lindsay Agustina, and I'm pretty sure you already met my partner yesterday, which is.
Hi guys, we met again. I'm Ken Jordan, and before we start, let us open with prayer first. So let us pray. I will lead in Christian way. Good morning, God. Thank you for your kindness that we can gather here in this room to hold this feedback competition. God, we may humbly ask you to shower our speakers today with your greatest inspiration so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the infallible knowledge experience and put into practice what we may learn today. Thank you, God. Amen.
Okay, so let's head on to our first agenda for today, which will be a seminar. The seminar will be about big data and digital accounting. And in this seminar, we will be guided by a great moderator, which is Mr. Alan Dharmasaputra, as the Vice Head of International Business Accounting Program in Petra Christian University. To Mr. Alan Dharmasaputra, the time is yours.
All right, thank you, MC, Lindsay and Ken. Good mornings and greetings to all of the participants of this webinar. For both Petra students as well as the high school students that come here today in this morning. I would like to also extend my greetings as well for Bu Hani Karunia as the head of ACCA Indonesia, and also Dr. Joshua Tarikan as the head of International Business Accounting. So this webinar is actually presented by International Business Accounting Petra that we always do every year around this time, which is in July, for both for high school students to help them to find their passion, especially in accounting field. Therefore, Ipec Petra, in collaboration with the biggest professional accounting body from UK, which is ACCA, wants to share how to become an ace accountant for all of you in the future, which is matched to this theme, which is conquest of the ace. Before we know what is the path that all of you need to take to become an ace accountant, I would like to invite first Bu Hani Karunia as the head of ACCA Indonesia to give her opening speech. Therefore, Bu Hani Karunia, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Pak Alan dan Mas Saputra. Terima kasih. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera. Assalamualaikum. Good morning from Jakarta. Before I start, on behalf of ACCA Indonesia, I also would like to say thank you to all of the participants today that are attending our event, and also would like to say thank you to Petra University, especially to Pak Joshua Tarigan and his team, who I'm sure has worked hard to create today's event successful and possible. Also, of course, to Mr. James Wright, ACCA, for your kindness and professionalism to give back to ACCA with being part of our event as our valuable speaker of the day. Last but not least, to all of you again, hopefully you enjoy the event today and gain a great insights and knowledge for this event with the title Conquest of the Ace. As the Indonesia Market Head of ACCA, I'd like to give a brief introduction on ACCA, or the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. We're a thriving global community of more than 227,000 members with 544,000 students that's based in 176 countries that upholds the highest professional and ethical values for more than 116 years. While we've been in Indonesia since 2013 and has the largest students database for a global professional qualification organization, we believe that accountancy is a cornerstone profession of society that supports both the private and public sectors. Our qualifications develop forward-thinking professionals with accounting and business, including also some digital adoption skills that are essential for the creation of sustainable economies and flourishing societies. Such example on that is what we are here to support our partner in the event today, which shows how we're committed to the development of a strong and also most up-to-date financial literacy in the Indonesian society, start from the younger age, and the money benefits that this could bring to organizations, individuals, and society. As every day, advances in technology are reshaping the world of accountancy and finance. The use of data to understand the performance of an organization is a long-established principle. As technology has developed, the exponential increase in computing power, and so does the tools we use to capture the growth of data analytics over time to refine and interpret data. With greater access to the variety and volume of data in our everyday lives, we've seen a gradual growth of data analytics that's being used over time. These amounts of data can be manipulated and developed into more strategically aligned decision-making models, which provide opportunities for accountants in the business to get the best information for the right decision-making, in which ACCA professional accountants support its people and organizations so that we can make sound decisions and doing the right thing as we build public trust, but by creating an inclusive profession with people from all backgrounds bound by a common global code of ethics and committed to updating their skills, such as today in this event, to meet a global demand from employers or businesses. Without taking much of your time, I'd like to give the time back to the event committees and our wonderful speakers. Thank you again, Mr. Alan, back to you. Good morning and stay safe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you very much, Buhani, for your opening speech. Okay. Now, from earlier, I keep mentioning the name of Ipec, Petra, and also ACCA, which can help all of you to pursue your path to become an ACE accountant. So some of you might be wondering, what is Ipec Petra and what is ACCA, and how can you pursue this path? Therefore, to understand Ipec Petra better, who else will be better to explain what is Ipec Petra other than Dr. Joshua Tarigan, the head of Ipec Petra. So therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Joshua Tarigan to give his presentation. Dr. Joshua, the virtual floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Pak Alan. Yeah, good morning, Buhani also, and also James, the one, the main speaker that will deliver about the material of big data and etc. Right. So before we go into James' material, I would like to share, for all of you, what is IBEC, what is International Business Accounting and why International Business Accounting, right? So this year, as you can see also in, the virtual background of the committee, you can see that there is a 60. So it means that this year PCU, Petra Christian University, came to the anniversary of 60. So we, Petra PCU, been 60 years served the students, served the society to deliver the quality of material and education. And inside PCU, we have accounting department. And then this year, our accounting department already 27 years, established. And inside our accounting department, there is international business accounting, which is 8 years ago, we established international business accounting, which is of course full in English and etc. But we don't call international business accounting as international program just because we deliver the material in English. That's not the main idea. So the main idea here, why IBEC or why international business accounting? Because we create international qualified accountant. Maybe some of you wondering what the meaning of qualified accounting. Is every student who graduate from university from accounting major can be called as a qualified accountant? The answer is no. So whenever university students graduate from university itself, from the accounting major, we cannot call as a qualified accountant. The one who graduate with title Sarjana Akuntansi in Indonesia. Long back ago we have Sarjana Ekonomi and etc. Right? So what the meaning of qualified accountant? The former Prime Minister from UK, which is Tony Blair, defined the qualified means professional qualification. Yeah. Okay. Professional qualification means certified. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why, when we established Ipec, International Business Accounting, 8 years ago. Yeah. We partnering with ACCA, one of the biggest professional accountants in the world. Okay, so at that time, we think about the international partner, which is we found ACCA has a very strong brand, a good qualifications. Therefore, we deliver that one to our students. So in international business accounting in IBEC, ACCA modules become embedded. What the meaning of embedded? The student who came to IBEC will have ACCA module, we have ACCA material, and also will have ACCA examination. Right. So we are the first university also in Indonesia who have embedded curriculum at that time. Yeah. So that's the meaning of qualified or professional qualification or certified. So back again to the main purpose. Why IBEC? In IBEC, we create international qualified accountant. So when we call international, it doesn't mean just only because we speak in English, right? So the meaning of international because we bring international qualification to our student. Because in ACCA, the student will face the international questions, international, examiners and etc. So that's one of our method, how to bring our, the international qualification to our student. I guess Wuhani already explained some of the, about ACCA, and James also will explain further, why ACCA and etc. The interesting data from Indonesia, which is from World Bank, mentioned that, in Indonesia, the professional accountant or qualified accountant, it is around 12,100, 113. Okay, this is the things, okay. Sorry, the number of accountant, is 20,000, and when we compare with our populations, it is 12,113. So what it means, it means that in order to find accountant, you need to meet with 12,113 people in Indonesia, which is still a big gap, compared to the Asian data. In Asian data, if you can take a look here, you only need to meet like around 3,388 people, right? So the number of professional accountant in Indonesia is still low. So this is your chance, whether you are as a student in university or you are a student in a senior high school, which is actually in the future. We can say that the career of accountant, the accountant, but remember, professional accountant, okay, has a bright future. Okay, what happened in IBEC? How is the performance of our IBEC so far? So whenever you graduate from IBEC, of course, you will get Sarjana Akuntansi, which is from Indonesia government. Indonesia government, Sarjana Akuntansi, we call it. Okay, so all of our students who graduate from IBEC, of course, they got Sarjana Akuntansi, which is Acca, 100%, right? But 95% from that 100%, let's say 100 students, okay, got, beside Sarjana Akuntansi, also got diploma accountancy in business from ACCA. Okay, and then 55% from that 100, got advanced diploma, in accounting in business also from ACCA, besides Sarjana Akuntansi and diploma AB also. Okay, and 20%, from that 100, when they graduate from IBEC, got also additional degree, Bachelor of Science from Oxford Brookes University, OBU, UK, without going to UK, yeah, without going abroad. Yeah, but of course in IBEC we also have programs. Yeah, we also have in final year programs. Yeah, student can go abroad, can go to the Netherlands, can go to the Europe, some country in Asia also, and etc. Right. So, but yeah, in IBEC, yeah, the only program, yeah, I can say in Petra, maybe not many also in Indonesia, you can get international degree without going to abroad. Yeah, isn't it good? Yeah, isn't it exciting? Of course. Why only 20%? Actually, it is reflected the quality. If 100%, of course, yeah, we need questioning the quality as well. But whenever we put 20% here, it means a first trial, yeah, for all the modules, yeah, from ACCA. Sometimes whenever a student fail, they can retake, but we not count that performance in this percentage. Yeah, so this percentage, yeah, for the first attempt, when they attempt the examination and they pass, yeah, we put in our percentage of performance. Yeah, of course, some of students also they get their bachelor's science, yeah, 1 or 2 months after they graduate from Petra. It can be, yeah, it can be, or sometimes they can get Bachelor of Science from Oxford Brookes University, yeah, let's say 1 year after graduate from Petra. It's possible also. Some of our students, did that one, yeah, but we not put in this performance percentage. Okay, the one that we only put here, yeah, the student, yeah, who passed the ACC exam on the first attempt, who got the Bachelor of Science from OBU, yeah, before they graduate from Petra or PSU. Okay, so that's the thing. Yeah, so you can see here there is an opportunity and challenge, yeah, in international business accounting. Yeah, what makes IBEC different compared to other program or compared to other university? Because in IBEC, yeah, you can explore your talent. You can explore, yeah, how far that you can go. Yeah, are you on the second level? Are you on the third level? Or are you on the fourth level, the highest level? Yeah, which is here, yeah, student, all the student, yeah, have an opportunity, same an opportunity. Yeah, there is no difference. Yeah, between or among the students itself, right? So this is what we call as international qualification. So again, international program doesn't mean just because, yeah, we deliver the course, yeah, in English, yeah, and etc. No, that's not the answer. Yeah, we call international program because we deliver the international qualification. Yeah, how we work with international qualification, we work with ACCA, one of the biggest professional accountant in this world, right? So that's a very important answer. So some of our students also, beside they join the graduation ceremony in IBEC, in Petra, they also join the graduation ceremony in, you can choose in Kuala Lumpur, in Dubai, or in UK itself. Yeah, whenever you get, yeah, the Bachelor of Science from Oxford Brookes University or OBU, yeah, you can enjoy your graduation ceremony not only in Petra, yeah, but also in other place or countries. Isn't it exciting? Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. If you go to the OBU itself, I mean, you go abroad, yeah, of course you can do that one, yeah, without register to Petra, without register to IBEC. Okay, you join or you go directly to UK, yeah, you join directly to OBU, Oxford Brookes University. Of course you can do that one, but definitely it will be, could be, 4 until 5 times, yeah, more expensive. Okay, so there's a case also. Of course, every students will have their own considerations. But whenever you think about international qualification, international degree, yeah, without going abroad, yeah, then could be, yeah. IBEC is the answer. So how is our graduation profile? Most of our graduation, yeah, most of our graduate, yeah, work in multinational company. So when we deliver the international qualification, we expect that, yeah, the student also, you know, once they graduate, yeah, they work in multinational company, international company, right? Such as like the PwC, yeah, this is part of the Big Four, yeah, PricewaterhouseCoopers, yeah, KPMG, EY, Ernst & Young, Philip Morris International, and etc. Yeah, and before they graduate, yeah, usually, not usually, yeah, mandatory, yeah, we ask the student to join the internship, yeah, internship activity, yeah. It is around 6 months, yeah. So some of them or most of them, you know, did their internship, yeah, in Philip Morris International, right? Some of them in PwC, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, yeah, Big Four also, yeah, and other international brand, right? So we like to become a consistent, yeah. When we deliver the international qualification, international material, right? We also ask the students, yeah, to do their internship in international company. Yeah, once they graduate, yeah, we expect our student also to work in international or multinational company as well, right? Of course, this is not 100%. Yeah, sometimes, you know, there is a one or two students, they choose to continue their parents, yeah, or family business. Of course, that's that choice. Yeah, but whenever you do, you know, all of your, you know, degrees and qualification in IBEC, we expect that, yeah, you can do, yeah, your professional work once you graduate in multinational company, right? So this is also one of our alumni, which is when she study with us, yeah, Natalia Ivana, she also have a chance to, you know, did her internship, yeah, in Philip Morris Hong Kong, yeah, as part of the Encompass challenge, right? So this again. So last but not least, I guess my time is up already, which is I only have 15 minutes to explain why IBEC, why international qualifications, right? Last but not least, yeah, I guess James also will explain further about, you know, big data, yeah, what is the relationship between accounting and the data? What is the relationship between, you know, accounting and decision making in business? How the roles of accountant, you know, help the company, you know, making the decision making, you know, etc. Right? James will explain further about that one. Yeah, I took this, you know, information from China Accounting Journal, which is a very good ranked journal. Yeah, it said that it concluded that a competent professional accountant in business is an invaluable asset to the company. You see here, you know, okay. And the second things, yeah, accountancy professional in business assists, yeah, with corporate strategy. Yeah. So what is the roles of accountant in business? You know, help the company, help the organization formulate, yeah, their corporate strategy, formulate, yeah, okay, their, you know, their company strategy, what it should do, okay. Then at that situation, needs from accountant really needed, yeah, really needed. Okay, I guess that's all from me, committee and Pak Alan. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all of the participants also to join our seminar and also our competitions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joshua, for your explanation about international business accounting. That being said, we would like to apologize to all the participants right here. It seems that our speaker today is currently having an issue. So before we actually goes into James' presentation, I would like to invite Dr. Joshua to open a forum question and answer. So if there is any participants who wants to ask any questions for Dr. Joshua Tarigan, you are free to put it in the chat or you can ask directly by opening your microphone.
Yes, feel free. I mean, not only to me, but also to Buhani. If there is a question specific about ACCA, an example, if you are a senior high school, how you propose or how you pursued your ACCA qualification could be, feel free to ask, yeah. Any one of you, whether you are in senior high school or whether you are a university student.
Questions can come not only from high school students, but also from university students as well. So we would like to invite everyone, especially all of you, the students, to be able to give questions to Dr. Joshua Darika. Maybe if you are shy to ask, you can put the questions in the chat box. I can give the questions anonymous to Dr. Joshua.
Okay, anyone?
Okay, there is a question, Pak, on the chat box from Angela. Is there any real example in the use of ACCA in the actual workplace? This one can also be answered by Buhani as well.
Okay, yeah. I will answer first, maybe after my, after I answering the questions, yeah, Buhani can add also. Yeah, so is there any real example in the use of ACCA material, yeah, in the workplace? Of course, yeah, when you do your ACCA degree or qualification or, ACCA modules, yeah, Ipec student also or understand whenever they have that kind of experience, especially when you start to do like from the fifth module, which is in the old period, we call it F5, yeah. Some people still like a code, the old code, yeah, but some people don't like or dislike that one. Anyway, yeah, but start, when you start to do the fifth module, yeah, which is we call it performance management, yeah, until even until the professional modules, yeah, then you will find many a good example, yeah, how to apply, the conceptual framework, the theoretical thinking, and many tools and methods in business, in accounting, in finance, yeah, to the organization, yeah. And an example for performance management, yeah, because I teach performance management also, which is F5, yeah. We're talking about, what is the indicators when we call this company perform better, right? Well, will you see from the profitability indicators, measurement only, or solvability, or many areas? So we learn a lot, yeah. And then, of course, in ACCA questions, especially the non-multi MCQ question, multi-choice question, MCQ, yeah, non-MCQ, there is a AC questions. So especially in the AC question, there is usually a short case, yeah, a short case, yeah. How you apply this kind of concept to the organization and business, right? So these are things. And beside, I teach performance management, yeah, I teach also the professional module, which is strategic business leader. In strategic business leader, the idea of the questions and the idea of the examination, will leverage into the highest level, right? So an example, yeah, for the professional module in strategic business leader, the exam will be 4 hours with a 2 question only. Yeah, 2 question doesn't mean only short question. Of course, in 4 hours you will deal with 2 long cases, right? So of course there is an example. The first case, about the company, of MRT. The second case, which is it is about manufacturing. Okay, and in each that case, there is a questions like, if you are a board of directors, yeah, if you are a board of directors, member of a BOD, how you will respond to this situation. And then the next question, if you are, the director of finance, how will you respond with this kind of issue? And the next question, if you are, the CEO, the presidents of the director of this company, how you will respond to this, situation. There's only, an example of some of, which is, of course, there is a lot of, variants of questions that you can find in ACC, especially when you come up with the professional modules. So I can conclude that the material, really train the students, really prepare the student how to deal with the, real workplace. Yeah, of course, there is no education methods. There is no even a single university in this world, even Harvard, prepare you 100% to be ready to go to the, working place. Of course, there is no such thing. But I can see that the modules, from ACC, especially when I teach a strategic business leader, it is a very comprehensive module. It is a very, very strong material. How to put accountant, having a comprehensive perspective, seeing the company, organization from multi dimensions, issue. Okay, so that's a very, very helpful, to prepare, to train the students, come to the workplace. Okay, I guess that's my short answer. Before I make it longer. Maybe Bu Hani would like to add it. Thank you.
It seems Bu Hani doesn't have any additional, or do you have any additional answer, Bu Hani? How ACCA
No, I'm
can
actually
help?
trying to reach Mr. James right now.
Oh,
but
thank you.
I
Yes.
don't have the remaining comments from me.
Okay.
So just a moment.
Okay. Thank you
he
very
is,
much.
maybe just for some information, since it is he is in UK, so it's 3:30 a.m. now. So he is online now. So just give him a few minutes so that he will be ready. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Hani. Okay, Pak Joshua.
Yes.
There is apparently 2 other new questions from Anonymous, because it's directly chat to me. The first question, Pak Joshua, is actually, what are the requirements for getting a scholarship in this major? So I guess this is a question that's specifically for you, Pak.
Okay, yes, of course, in Ipec, not only in Ipec, I mean, in PCU, Petra Christian University, there is some scholarship scheme, that you can search, which one that fit with you. But one of the highest scholarship, which is free for 4 years, of course, this is something to do, whenever you become the winner of Olympiad, science and etc. There is 1 or 2 of our students, not every batch, because this is a very, highest criteria. This is the highest criteria. So they can get a free school, a school fee for 4 years. But the rest of the scholarship, you can contact, our admissions department. Maybe after this, Pak Alan, you can contact also with Mas Dimas, and then after that, I guess we still have time. You can chat with the persons, with the students, who are interesting, looking for a scholarship. There is some of our scholarship scheme programs. You can take a look at that one. It is depends your conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Joshua. And also, Pak, there is another question right here, which is also anonymous as well. What are the qualifications for high school students to apply for this Ipec major?
Sorry, Palan, can you repeat it?
So what are the qualifications for high school students to apply for this major?
Okay, so most of the qualification or general qualification, of course, you need to graduate from senior high school, and then you come up with all of the documents and etc. But especially for IBEC, we usually have 10 until 15 minutes interview, and of course minimum TOEFL. If we're talking about TOEFL of 500, for sure we expect you have a higher English skill once you graduate from IBEC. Usually when senior high school students came to IBEC, they come up with 500 or 550, but once they graduate, most of the time their English skill become higher, right? So that's both of and the third, there is a three. So the first is the interview. The second is you have a English literacy skill and a certificate and etc. And the third, of course, this is something to do with the motivation letter. Of course, most of the university in abroad also asking about this one. Yes, I guess that's all. I can see James already here.
Yes, Dr. Joshua, thank you very much for your answer. Hopefully that it will answer all the participants' questions. Okay, now I would like to also thank you for James Wright to be here. Welcome, James, to this webinar. We, as part of the committee, would also like to apologize because it seems that we convert the time to your UK time incorrectly. We apologize for that one. Good morning here from Indonesia, James.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing?
Good morning. Thank you very much, James, for coming.
That's all right.
Yes. All right. Now, I want to give a little bit of background first for James. So James is an ACCA member from UK and also a senior lecturer as well from Lincoln University. Now, as the era has changed and we are facing globalization era, accounting profession would also need to face this new environment as well. So therefore, as to match with today's theme, James, which is Conquest of the Ace, we would like to let the students here know how to become an ace accountant in the future. So how to have the appropriate skill and knowledge to be able to face digitalization in accounting. So therefore, we are inviting James here today to speak about how his journey to be professional accountant through ACCA, and what is big data and digital accounting, and how these students right here can choose their own path to be professional accountants in the future. So therefore, without further ado, I would like to invite James to present his presentation. James, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alan. Am I all right to share my screen just to share the slides with everyone?
Yes, obviously.
Lovely. It's just loading up. Here we go. It's all right. There you go. Can you see that on there?
Yes, we can see your screen, James. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, everyone, first of all, I would just like to say a very, very good morning, as it is currently 3:30 a.m. UK time. So yes, thank you so much for having me today. It's absolutely wonderful to be speaking to you all around the world. And as you can see down at the bottom, I work at the University of Lincoln. And for those of you who've got your phones with you today, taking different notes, those are my social media contacts, where going away from today, feel free to keep in contact. I'll be in touch with all of the fantastic team at Petra Christ University who are delighted to reach out and offer me the opportunity to speak today, along with ACCA. As I said, my name is James. I'm one of the actual program leaders and an ACCA member from the UK. And what you can see in the background here is actually the ACCA members wall. So if you become an ACCA member in the future, your name will be added to this wall as well. My name is in there. I can't quite see it from here, but trust me, I've been down to the London HQ in London and I have found my name, and I will show you where it was later as well. But as I said, and thank you for the lovely introduction, Alan, and for all of the team there. Good morning and welcome everyone, where today we're going to be going through the presentation in 3 nice parts. I always like to make it as informative as possible, and you get to know a lot more about me as well. So we'll be talking briefly at the start about my accountancy journey through ACCA and what I was like at school and sort of the position where you are in now. And then after that, we'll be going into big data and some other aspects on there as well, which again, will be able that you could take away information that is definitely going to help you out. And finally, a nice Q&A at the end where I'll definitely invite questions from my experience and the big data and digital accounting that are really going to help you out as well. So if you're looking to progress your career in accounting, feel free to keep in contact, as I said, and then also ask away from what we see today as well. So everyone here has never been to sort of one of my presentations, and the first thing I find with online presentations these days is, who on earth is the person is on the screen talking to you from wherever they may be around the world? So my slides that I have with my students, whether that's at university or I'm delivering ACCA talks around the world, well, you need to know who I sort of am, so then you get to know me a bit better. Well, looking on the right-hand side there, that is the University of Lincoln campus, and that is me in my delightful trousers and badge, as you can see. And just taking you around a few of the photos and my sort of experience. That again, if you've got any questions on it at the end, feel free to let me know. But if we have a look on the bottom left there, these were the PQ awards, where I was very fortunate to win the actual public sector lecturer of the year for 2020. In the top left-hand corner, that is Helen Brand. She's the current chief executive for ACCA, where she presented me my Leaders of Tomorrow program, which are all about the sort of soft skills that young people and professionals need within the workplace. So if you'd like me to talk about any of those aspects that made me able to win that award, more than happy to on there as well. At the bottom, you have me and my dad on there. I was kindly nominated for the actual 30 under 30 award in Lincoln for professionals. So the top 30 professionals under 30, which at the time of this recording, I still am. So it's all right on there. And at the top, I've completed a undergraduate degree and master's program at the University of Lincoln, where I currently work. So we'll go through my sort of journey in the future. But what I do now is I speak to accounting students around the world. I provide my insights. So through my actual YouTube account, Instagram accounts, and you can see on there, myself and Greg, that was another presentation we actually did like this in Belgium to ACCA students there. So who knows in the future, Alan, and to all the Petra team, we could be doing this face-to-face as well. It would be an absolute delight. And finally on that, one of the other key things that people get wrapped up around now is, well, is it just a case of being an accountant and working behind a desk? Again, which we'll talk about later. But other things that I like around my work and other things like that is I quite like my running and my athletics. So that was me completing another charity marathon, which again was very rewarding back in the UK. But for my sort of ACCA journey, which you will be either at the start of your journey, or maybe you've had a look at ACCA online, or what an accountant is online, any questions that you have today, feel free to let me know. But before you actually get started completing your ACCA, well, you've got to think before then as to say, well, before I actually sit my first exam, what actually happened before then. So as you can see on the left-hand side, that was me when I was at school on there. And to be honest, for everyone on this call, I wasn't particularly the best at maths or anything to say that I was top of my class or anything like that. But I had other interests and areas that really helped develop me. So I'm a qualified soccer or football referee on top of that, to which led me to actually go to university, where I did a undergraduate degree in accountancy and finance. So that was me at the graduation with Brady and Liam. They're two of my course mates, very nice guys. And the other thing about ACCA and people who want to become accountants, they are also planning on being, so Liam is already a qualified ACCA member and Brady is finishing his final exams. I also have international experience, where on the right-hand side, that is my team who I worked with in North Carolina. So that was in America. So I went and did a 3-month placement out in North Carolina as an accounts assistant. And this was before I'd even started doing my accounting qualifications. So if anyone has got any ideas about countries they want to go to in the future, potentially, feel free to jot it down. And I'm more than happy to help on the sort of visa processes or ambitions. But that is before I've even got into any accounting examinations. So when I did get into them and started working for the first time within my first role, this is me on the left-hand side on one of my first days at my role. So I was working as an accounts assistant and in taxation on there. And it was only a small firm of about 30 employees, where, yes, I developed throughout completing my ACCA, all of the examinations. I also gained some exemptions as well, if that's something that people are interested in here. But then on top of working as an accountant and, as I said, producing the annual reports, working with clients, meeting with clients as well, I also helped to create the company's new websites and design their social media and look to implement new processes and started to train the actual new people who came into the business. So it isn't just a case of, for me, being sat behind a spreadsheet. There was quite a lot of variety. And for anyone who follows the English Premier League here, and for anyone who wants to keep in contact, as lots of my students do on Instagram and YouTube, they always let me know when Leicester are playing, because I'm a big Leicester City fan, originally from Leicester as well. But the other thing is, it's the people you meet on your actual ACCA and accounting study journey who you'll be friends with for the rest of your life. So Mike is the chap who's in the picture there on the right, where that is at the ACCA graduation, or sort of the transition dinner, should we say, when lots of people have just been qualified to become members, all meet down in London for a celebratory evening. But I was on the phone to him 2 days ago, talking about his new house and how his career is changing from his from working from home. So from the business he works at in London. And finally on there, that's me receiving my certificate after a long day at work and having a nice glass of champagne. And I look at these photos now and I go, it was a very long time, but it has shaped me quite a lot for the future, where the opportunities that I have now from doing this are so vast that no matter what time of the day that I look to help accounting students out and people and professionals around the world, I just hope that one little bit of an insight could help change someone else's actual journey on there. So my career in a nutshell, looking back from some of those photos, is from, well, being a student at the University of Lincoln when I started my accounting journey off, to now being a qualified member, going away and getting my experience, to now being back at the university itself and actually teaching my students. So I teach students who are aged from 18 up to, well, my oldest student I think was 51 on there. I also help out with local schools as well, so whether that's in the UK or overseas. So just getting people to actually understand a bit more about accountancy, because it's a case of, I never had someone who was there to help me out when I was sort of 16 or so. I didn't really know many accountants or anything like that. I just knew that I wanted to, where I had an interest in how a business works, the ins and outs of the finances. And then it was one of the things that said to me, well, why do I want to be an accountant for it as well? As well, if you don't know the numbers of a business, how on earth are you actually meant to run a business effectively, was one of the main reasons on there. So now you'll be thinking and saying to yourself, oh, this is all very exciting, James, you know, sounds like it's been going very well for you. Well, it's all about, for me, really, the sort of giving back on top of it, where I like to help out people like yourself who are at the presentation today with all of the ACCA Indonesia and Petra team, where looking forward, I see future collaborations where we can organize future events and to really home the global accountancy community. So we talked about the actual panel and the actual members around the world. So if you look at the sort of top picture on there, it says panel 1718. As you can see there, names W to Y. So that's right for my name. And that is the President Leo Lee, who was the president in 2019, I want to say, where we met in London. Absolutely fantastic guy. But mainly within my role now, I try and promote as many things to accounting students around the world to help develop their careers. So we organise workshops with ACCA in collaboration with different partners. So this was one of the last ones we were able to do face-to-face on the left-hand side. Also, I work and help to develop the careers of young professionals in the UK. So the actual top picture on there is the top 10 university accountancy professionals within the UK, and that is a ACCA collaboration award that was awarded to Emily down in London as well. But it's the network of different students there that they have all my details. We could work on other things in the future. So you've got Ryan and Charlie and Ed and all the guys on there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. You might also recognize Mike again there on the top right-hand side. So that is one of the actual Accountex conferences. So these are things that I never thought as a student I'd be able to go to. But people like yourself in Indonesia, there will be events with local organizations that you can get involved in. And I would highly, highly recommend it, as that was Tesla back in, we're talking now about probably 2018. I didn't invest in Tesla at that point, sadly. It's okay. But the final thing for this slide is just to make you aware that when I was in your shoes, I used to think, oh, ACCA, it's a massive, it's the biggest global accountancy body, but you're never one person away, never more than one person away from someone who knows people who work within the organization. And I can tell you from behind the scenes, as you can see from the photo in the bottom left there, that is one of the roundtable events where professionals from various different backgrounds come together to discuss ideas, and you can actually have your say. That's one of the beauties of the professional body. That going away from today, I really would recommend that you keep in touch with all of the team who are here today. Use social media, use other platforms such as LinkedIn as well, and really put yourself out there, because as what I do now for the professional body, I put out recordings online. I help students from a variety of different backgrounds, whether they're actually from a diverse background, or if they've never done accounting, they've never done finance, they just want a bit of insight. So that is where we run collaborations around the world. And this is where, within my role now, I have students, as I said, who come from multidisciplines. So we try and get them onto as many internships and placements as possible. Ada, one of my students, got down to the last top 30 students for L'Oreal. And so when we were down in London, I took him to the actual professional body HQ. And as I said, organizing those workshops, other things on top of it, there is such an opportunity for you to get involved within the professional body. They've got loads of free resources, what I'll talk about on the end as well. And it's a very small world out there. The bottom right-hand corner is me out in, that is in Leverkusen in Germany, where Harry and Ben down there are current ACCA students who were sat next to me in a football game in Germany as well. So yes, just to give you an insight as to say I can travel around the world and still bump into people. But this is my current role as an ACCA qualified accountant. That is our fantastic team on the left-hand side there. So we have ACCA, ACA, CIMA, a variety of PhDs and professionals on there. And on the right-hand side, that is the University of Lincoln Cathedral, with the person who's doffing his cap on there is a lovely PhD student and current professor out in Vietnam called Huy, who did his actual thesis in capital structure. But that is what I currently do within my role as an accountant. So you may be looking at this today thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't even started my journey, or I'm not too confident on maths, or I've got so many different doubts. It may seem a long, long road. You may be thinking about doing it into the future, but it's worth it, okay? The opportunities, the benefits of having these letters to your name, and what it can actually lead to for career opportunities as well. Again, we can talk about it later in the Q&A. I'm more than happy to, but that's just to give you a little overview as to say, well, what is my previous experience on there? How can I help you? And how can this help you going forward? So whilst I have a bit of water on here, if you've got a pen and paper with you at the moment, or if you've got your phone, make sure you write down any questions you have from the first part of the presentation, and then we can save them for the end Q&A. So I'll just give you a moment whilst I have a sip of water. And again, if you've got your phone on you at the moment, feel free to add the ACCA and Petra and myself on Instagram and on YouTube as well, so you can keep in touch, and feel free to actually post about the event whilst we're going through. Okay then. So now to give you a bit more of an insight as to saying, well, let's have a look and let's have a talk about some more of the actual technical accounting areas now that can really help you out. And you may have heard of some of these terms, you may have not, but we're going to be having a look at big data and digital accounting. So these are things that are going to affect everyone and are currently affecting everyone on the conversation we're having today. So these are things that you can actually take away if you've got upcoming pieces of work, or if you're going to actual job interviews in the future, and just to say to yourself, well, I'm going to now look at the things that go on in my life a lot differently as a result, because the usual thing, if you were to say to someone, oh, I'm an accountant, what do I do? They usually sort of have that sort of photo, as you can see on the right-hand side there, of someone who sat by their desk counting up receipts, which is so not true. There is so much more to it now, and that's where big data comes into it. And it's a really fascinating, interesting area that if you've got a passion for technology and coding and the way that data is used within day-to-day life and businesses, there is definitely going to be scope for that in the future. So first of all, you've got to actually say to yourself, well, what on earth is big data as a result, okay? And this is where I'm just going to be using examples of things that you will have around you right now as you're listening to this talk on here. So think about your actual mobile phone and what you go about within your day and your consumption. So whether that's yourself, your friends, your family, your parents, even the people who are actually on this call today, like myself. You know, I have my phone on me and all this sort of stuff. So just as an example on here about what goes on in the world today that we all live in, okay? So the average user consumes 40 exabytes of data per month. So that is the average person who goes about an average month within their world. This is what they use on their phones, on their computers, and just to give you a bit of terminology for it on there. And on average in the UK, there are about 5 billion users who actually consume data. So whether that's via computer, technology. So that equates to, and this is where we take those figures and just try to put that number into your head, that gives us 200 billion exabytes per month of data being consumed actually currently around the world through various different formats. And this is what we classify as big data on that. So even just try to picture in your mind the number 200 billion. That is the key thing on there, and think to yourself, how on earth would I go about quantifying that? And then you say to yourself, if I'm one of these people within the actual data on here, what am I actually using that for? Well, this is where, just to give you a little flavor for it, as to say, well, this is how much data is being generated per minute on here, okay? So you've got examples like you can see on the screen that for those of you who have the app Snapchat, that 2.1 million Snapchats, videos, messages, whatever it may be, are sent per minute. You've got 3.8 million Google searches per minute. You've got 4.5 million YouTube searches and watching of videos per minute on there. I can tell you that because on average, there's about 50 people who watch one of my accounting videos. So they were per hour on this, they're part of that data. Everyone here is part of email lists and social media. So you got 188 million emails from work and personal that are sent per minute. And then there are over 1 million Facebook searches as well. So per minute. So these are astronomical figures all happening within a minute. So those minutes turn into hours, that turn into days, that turn into weeks, that turn into months. So you've then got to say to yourself, how on earth, if I went away from this, would I then actually start to quantify that? Or what does it actually mean? How do I actually classify it? Well, if you want to get it down on here, there's usually this is a good format for actually classifying the actual big data. And this is known as the 5 V's concept. So you've got the actual volume, so the actual size of the data. You've got the velocity of the speed of which it actually is processed. You've then got the different varieties, so the different structures. Is it structured? Is it non-structured on there, what we have on record? We've then got the veracity, so how accurate is that actual information? What are the overall sources? And then the value and the cost benefit to it. So is it actually worth it? So as ever, I try and put these things into an example. So you have on here, we could talk about the global education sector. And I thought, oh, I'm going to put a lovely picture of Petra Christian University on here. And I must say, it's a very, very pretty building, isn't it? So you've got to think to yourself, think about in your mind right now, you can close your eyes or just think about it by looking at that picture and have a think to yourself about all of the global education sector offices around the world. So you've got Petra University there in Indonesia, you've got the University of Lincoln in the UK. So the actual volume and size of that data, there are thousands of institutions in terms of size around the world for all these institutions. And then you've got the velocity for it to say, well, the universities are open on a day-by-day basis, so the speed of that information that is being generated from the students, the operations, is going to be at a timely fashion. You've then got the variety of different types of data. So that could be anything from structured to be such as Excel spreadsheets that maybe the staff actually use versus non-structured. So there'll be social media teams who work within the organizations, who promote the universities, and you have collaborations around the world, and it's broken down into other different areas. And you've got the veracity as to say, well, from the data that the organizations of the education sectors, how accurate is it from what they're actually producing in their reports? Are there any actual trends and analysis that we can look at from how have the universities and the actual education sectors changed in the past? Is it an upward trend? Is it a downward trend? Are we actually looking at students achieving better results? So this is where we can actually measure the data as well over long-term trends. And then finally on there, the actual value. So to collate all of this and the costs associated with the staff and the computing power, the cost benefit analysis, which you'll use and have a look at within your accounting studies, but a really useful, nicely broken down with example on there that would definitely help you out as well. But for anyone who is maybe looking at going into big data into the future or analytics, how do we actually process and store that data? So thinking again to yourself that if I've got my phone or if I'm working for a business in the future, what sort of frameworks are we going through that I'd be sat within the office that I'd have to go through and to put this into practice? I've put on there a couple of examples as to software going away from today if you want to have a bit of research into it. So you've got Cassandra, Hadoop and Spark, online resources that actually help to actually process and store big data. So this is where you've got different sort of examples on here. So you've got a picture that you've got absolutely massive files now that you would actually have to process and store that big data online in the systems that the actual organization has. And we've got two different methods on there. We've got the distribute files. So this is where saying if it was the file was 100, okay, call it just 100, won't go into technical details, but instead of it being 100, we would break it down into maybe 4 25s and store it in that way. So we'd actually break up the files into smaller chunks and we would save those smaller 25s into different areas. So it will be maybe server A and server B and server C. So breaking up those files to distribute the big data and to store it effectively. You've then actually got the parallel processing, where instead of taking that to process that, again, we'll call this one 50, so that we need to actually process the big data now. So it goes from 0 to 50, and instead of one computer doing that whole process from 0 to 50, well, maybe we would have one processing area taking the 0 to 10. The next processing area would be 10 to 30, and then the final processing area will be 30 to 50. So instead of one processor doing all of it all together, it would be broken down into 3 areas. So these are just general overview, little sort of methods that for you to take away just to try and think about it in a different manner. But at the end of the day, it's all about trying to find correlations and conclusions that we can make better decisions for the stakeholders of the organization, the business, whatever it may be, that we wouldn't have had before. And this is where it gets into the real interesting part, as to say, well, how do we actually take that information that we've been talking about there, and this is from different software systems around the world, data is being collected as I speak right now, and then how is it being implemented in the real world to benefit mankind and to help people? Well, on the left-hand side there, typhoons and the weather are, and it also happens in America as well, because they get hit by actual typhoons as well. But the big data that we actually collect from weather systems and around the world can actually be used to predict when potential typhoons are going to actually hit a location, such as Japan, which is absolutely famous for it. So in other words, if we can predict through big data if a typhoon is likely to happen, well, that means we can actually notify the actual countries and the people associated there where it will be hitting earlier on, so they can be better prepared, and that is going to help people out. The next one is actual video game experience. So the big data on there can actually help to work out, well, when did the user actually start to maybe turn off or switch off their computer game, or when did they actually lose engagement in their experience of the game on there? So it could be Fortnite, it could be Battlefield, it could be Call of Duty, it could be FIFA, whatever it is. You get testers around the world who analyze the way that these people play the game. They take that big data from players all around the world. They'll then go away, change the actual game itself based on the feedback of the big data to make the game more engaging on top of it. Which again, I find just absolutely fascinating to say that they will then go away and change the scene of what happened in the game so that it keeps you sat on your chair to enjoy the game and to enjoy the experience more. Because there'll be correlations and conclusions as to say, well, when did one person leave the game and when did one person stay? And then finally, if anyone is wearing a digital or an Apple Watch or a Garmin or something on those lines, everyday technology, classically a watch is, some of them actually measure your heart rate on there. They can actually measure your pulse. There are a variety of different areas of technology just within a watch itself or within your mobile phone, which again, just trying to put that in perspective as to say, how many users of watches are there around the world? What if we actually collated all of that data, and then we could work out maybe what are the links between potentially types of diabetes between different types of people. So the big data is used within everyday technology, again, to actually hopefully benefit yourself. So that's just to give you a nice little overview of big data. And again, if you've got any sort of other questions on it or other uses, again, take this moment just to write it down, put it in the chat, whatever it is that'll help you to recall it at the end when we have a little Q&A. But then we've got to think about, oh, we've got digital accounting now. And this is where there'll be some of you who are sat there today who are thinking, oh, I've heard about accounting, and I know maybe my dad's an accountant or my friend's dad or my uncle's an accountant. But what do accountants actually do is the first thing as to, if I were talking about digital accountancy, how is that going to link in? And we talked about it at the start. Is it a case of, well, we've got the actual receipts on the side there, and am I just going to be counting it up? And I'll be honest with you, at the start of your career, you will end up doing probably some mundane tasks because you'll be the newbie within the office, and you might need to gain some experience and to integrate into the team. So there will be more sort of tasks you go, oh, this could be particularly automated. Well, that links onto the little nice little photo on the side, which is the actual cloud-based system. So with lots more institutions and firms working remotely online now, lots more are using cloud-based systems within their operations, that people are working remotely, more from home, spending less time in the office. And this is where it is definitely going to be shaping the way that people interact with colleagues, not just now, but into the future as well. So then I say to myself, how is the accounting sector changing? And how can I help the students today to give them a few more ideas? Well, how is it going to affect them into the future? Well, starting from the left on there, you can see this gentleman with his son sat in front of the laptop. And as I said, the actual structure with the organizations, it won't be the case like it was in the past, where I would go into the office 5 days a week, and we'd all be there at 8:30 in the morning and finish till whatever time the work needed to be done. I firmly believe going into the future, there'll be people who will have the flexibility to actually do a minimum of 1 day a week from home. I would say there are some organizations that are going down to a 4-day week now. So the actual structure and how the working environment is going to be based is the first thing that you need to be aware of, and to say, well, what would you actually want for your future career? Would you want that office environment all the time, or would you want flexibility? The way that accounting is actually being undertaken is changing. So taking the audit profession, for example, on here, you can see the actual drone technology that I've included on the photo. So that is a drone going over the actual car lot. And what it does is it goes over, and you need to actually verify how many cars are actually within that car lot. Now, with COVID restrictions and other things that affect the way that an audit would be undertaken, in the past, the auditor would go round and actually count up all the cars, reconcile the actual registration plates, and to confirm what number of cars and what they've said is actually there, versus the actual drone, which can be remotely controlled, and it can go over, it can use artificial intelligence, and it can actually scope out and count up the cars, reducing the actual cost of having a full team there. We have on the bottom there as well accounting records, because everything is becoming a lot more digitalized. In the UK, for example, we have something called Making Tax Digital, which involves HMRC, which is where UK taxpayers pay their accounts to, pay their tax revenues to. And what it means is that all of the banking details of firms and individuals are actually placed directly online, and that is where we actually have the tax systems are picking up on more of the client's information, versus in the past, what I used to have to get as an accountant would be all the records in the folders you can see there. I'd have to go through them. I'd have to count up all the revenue, all the expenses, and then we'd come to an actual figure overall, where there'll be no digital record of the actual transactions of that client's bank account, versus now they're being directly uploaded to the government websites and can be tracked a lot more easier. So the days of having paper-based records like you see on there are very much changing, where if you want to jot it down, we'll come to it later on, but there are various different softwares such as Xero and QuickBooks, which are helping small business owners around the world. And I alluded to it on there, but there are some things which are definitely going to help you out listening to this actual webinar and talk today, that I really wish I'd have actually known when I was starting my accounting career, and just to sort of have a bit of an idea going away to say, how could I enhance my opportunities, and what are the skills that employers are going to be looking for? Well, the first one, which I tell all of my students at the University of Lincoln, everyone I meet, is that first of all, you need to actually get comfortable with using Microsoft Office, and that is Excel especially. So lots of accounting firms still use Excel. You can actually get free online Microsoft Office certificates on sites like as LinkedIn. So make sure you're writing this down, because this is really going to help you out, that you could add onto your resume, again, to differentiate yourself and to say, is this something that could help me out in the future, which Excel will be used in every single business, I can tell you now. The next thing on there is I put on basic coding as well, because it's a small little skill that I think is going to be, well, it's very popular now, and it helps you understand the computer systems. but it's a case of, I think it's only going to develop in the future with more and more technology that is being digested. So if you can get better at understanding coding and zeros and ones and programming, that would definitely be one thing I'd be looking to actually get into a bit more, so I have a better understanding. Again, you can do some basic courses online to actually understand it a bit better. And make sure you take a screenshot of some of those accounting softwares at the bottom. So if you actually have an interest in becoming an accountant in the future, or you just want a bit more exposure, these are some of the actual big softwares out there that if you went and worked for a company in the future, these are the softwares that you need to get more competent with. And again, you can do some free courses on them. You can go onto their websites. You can download some of their packages on it. It's really, really helpful. One of the things I really wish I'd have known about and researched a lot more. So make sure you get down that on there to definitely help you out going away from today. And the other thing is, always, I find this with quite a lot of students, wherever you may be around the world, is finding credible accounting resources that are going to help you out, help you progress, whether that's going through in your actual career or you're looking to develop your knowledge. Where can I actually find actual credible information that is going to help me out? Well, first of all, there's the PQ magazine. I mentioned it at the start where I was delighted to win the PQ award. It was very overwhelming, but it's a part qualified accountancy magazine, which is for free. And anyone here can sign up for it. So make sure you get a screenshot of this one on here, because these are the areas that if I was starting out again in my accounting journey, these would definitely help me out. You also have on there the actual professional insights, which is directly found on ACCA's website. So we've recently done a project with the Generation Z and the Generation X on there. So this is hearing from accountancy students around the world. And if you're going to an actual employer, have a read of some of these. It's got all up-to-date information and it's all free on there as well. And the final one that I didn't know before I went to university was something called Accounting Age. So this has all of the up-to-date articles that are happening around the world, changes in the profession. Again, that if you go to an interview or you're networking or you're meeting people or you're just generally interested in the sector, that is a really helpful area and tool that I would definitely recommend going away from today. You just go and check it out. I always log on to see what's actually happening within the world, and it inspires you to actually keep up to date, and it will definitely help you out. So make sure you've got those written down in your notes. But finally, as we draw to a close on here today, the main thing going away from any presentation that I find with colleagues and myself in the past, pre-COVID, was I always just take down some notes. I always used to think, well, that was very interesting. Nice insights on there. I took away a few points on from that. But what actions are you actually going to take from today? That is one of the key things. So you'll have your notes, you'll have my details, you'll have all the team's details, but it's up to you to go away and to take that time and to say, I really want to research this and why. I really want to go away and have a look at the PQ magazine to see what resources that could help me and enhance my career on there. James, who's far into his accounting career, wouldn't mention these things if he didn't think it was going to be important and could give me a head start in my career. So I'm going to take advantage of it. I can reach out to him and all the team, but it's all down to you at the end of the day. It's all about how you actually put into practice your time, because I got told this quote the other day, which has really stuck with me, as to what would the future self of you, so think about yourself in the future, what do you want to be, what do you want to become, and say to yourself, what would my future self think of the actions that I'm taking today? Is that going to get me to that future self? And if the answer is no to what you're doing, then you need to change it up and take different action. And if you do that, you're going to be on a completely different road where you're going to be the pilot of your life versus the passenger. So overall, I'd just like to say again, a huge thank you to Hanny, to Ash, to Alan, and to Joshua, and all of the Petra team and ACCA team for the opportunity. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, if you want to keep in contact with me on YouTube, or Instagram or LinkedIn, just simply type in James Wright ACCA. Keep in touch with the global accounting community, and who knows, hopefully we'll be able to do one of these talks face to face rather than on Zoom. But it's been an absolute pleasure today. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And if anyone's got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer absolutely anything. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, James. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation there. From sharing your journey, how you start before you become a student up until you become a professional accountant nowadays, and also about the topic about big data and also digitalized accounting. From there, we can know now how to classify and also process big data. And from Jim's explanation as well earlier, we know that big data are actually around us, especially for those of you who are playing games, who have, you know, such thing as an Apple Watch, you are actually exposed to big data. Okay, we also hear how James explained about accounting professional that changes nowadays and how to keep up yourself to become quote unquote an ace accountant in the future. Okay, James also have shared about some important accounting resources such as Accountancy Aids, PQ magazine, as well as you can go to ACCA website, obviously, to be able to get some additional information about the latest accounting information. And as well as what James says, at the end, everything comes back to all of you. How you want to picture yourself maybe about 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, and what action that you want to take now. Okay, so I would invite everyone to ask questions. Well, actually, James, there are some questions already here. So I will give it to you, James. So first question is actually from Siska. In the global era, many accounting activities can be done only using technology. How can an accountant still be able to do something in the accounting process? Then what are the things that an accountant needs to prepare in the face of increasingly advanced technological developments? Then, if an accountant is not able to adapt to the changing circumstances, what solution can be given to support someone to continue their career? So that's the first question, James. Do you want to answer this one first?
Oh, of course, Alan, it's all right. Thank you, Siska, for that question as well. Well, yes, there are going to be more accounting processes that are going to be digitalized on there. So everything from simple, say, bank reconciliations that I had to do in the past, you can very much do that completely now on accounting software. So you've got to say to yourself, well, where can I add the most amount of value? And what it will come down to is the actual interpretation of those figures, of that data, to help out yourself as an individual or your clients on there, the businesses that you work with. So an example would be actual taxes. So I used to do advanced taxation. I had lots of clients around the world as to say, what is their personal tax situation? What about their company tax situation, where we could actually plan into the future to say, well, these are the figures that the process and the technology has provided for us, but then the advisory that you could actually have with your people skills and your soft skills, how you communicate with someone, especially if you're talking about saying a person's personal finances, where you have to be comfortable by saying they are a £1 million client, they are a £10 million client. These are substantial figures which I didn't particularly own at that point when I was a trainee accountant. I don't have millions of pounds, but these clients do. So you have to be professional, interpret it. But then coming on to the advanced technological developments on there, it's progressing all the time. So if you want to jot down about artificial intelligence, that is going to be changing the way that the accounting profession is going to be structured in the future, with machine learning on top of it. But there are always going to be challenges for businesses and accountants wherever you are around the world. But these are the things that it could happen to you on a Monday morning in an office, in an organization, or a Friday afternoon. But these are the challenges that separate out the winners and the losers of the organizations who have the critical thinking, and then they don't say, oh, we can't do this, I don't know how to do it. Well, okay, we'll work out a way to do it. Okay, and if anyone wants an idea about this, have a look at Elon Musk and the way that he's actually built up SpaceX on there, where there's a story about him being quoted a particular part to actually go into his rocket ship into the millions of pounds. So what he did to his engineers was he gave them a budget of 5% of that to go away and make the same part. And his engineers went away and problem solved and looked into it, and they made it less than 5% of the cost that they were quoted at. So it's in times of adversity, when we don't know what we're doing, or we don't know actually how to generate these sort of things, or if there's a technological update or something holding us back. But that's when innovation kicks in and you find a way to work it out. So I hope that helps with a nice little example on there for you.
All right, thank you very much, James, for answering the question. So pretty much in a nutshell, what James says that there are some parts in accounting that, yes, obviously will be changed with technology, but critical thinking, how you interpret things in business, that cannot be changed. And again, you as a professional accountant will still be needed in the future. But if your set skill is only on basic accounting skills, such as bookkeeping and such, and bank reconciliation, then, you know, yes, you will be changed by machine learning in the future, obviously. All right. So second question, James, from Jason. Is the big data related to the programming skills or like programming languages such as Python?
Oh, no, really good question on that. So it's a bit of both, I would say. So in terms of the big data relating to the program skills, so what will happen is you've got to get good at a particular area of your expertise. Okay, so actually going through big data and putting it all together is not my area of expertise at all. So coming down to it, there will be someone within the organization, just to give you some perspective and scope on this, that they'll say, oh, Alan, he is the person who interprets and puts together all of the big data from all of the different sources. Okay, and that is where you can go, oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Alan, for that, for doing it. But how you could generate that to help you is you could then go and interpret that information to say, well, you've then got to start asking and questioning what is going on. So where can we make improvements from that big data? Where are we going to add value for our clients from that big data? How is this going to change the particular sector that the big data relates to? So this is where the programming language on there, that yes, it's a case of utilizing the actual softwares and taking the data and processing it as we go through. What you'll find is within the workplace, there are people who actually specialize in the processing of data. They've done maybe computer science degrees, or they're particularly fond of computers and the softwares, versus someone like myself. I go, well, how is that going to affect one of our clients? How can we use this to our advantage to actually say, well, I'm going to take the data and then go, well, how can it be implemented in practice, which they won't be able to think about it that way because they're quite good at the programming and the actual language. So differentiating between the different roles, because there's a phrase of, you don't want to be the jack of all trades on there. You want to be a specialist in one area, and that's going to be your USP, as to say, well, this is what James does, and this is where he adds the most amount of value to our workforce and to the company itself.
Okay, so thank you very much, James, again for your answer. So Jason, thank you very much as well for your questions. That pretty much, to sum up in a nutshell, is that yes, you can understand about programming skill and programming languages, but as what James says, his position as a professional accountant is how you interpret. Yeah, the keywords is how you interpret the results of that big data into an action in the future. As what James says, so someone who understand about programming, maybe studying computer science, will be the one who processes the data. And we as a professional accountant, we are the one who interpret the data. Pretty much that's the answer. Yeah. And last questions actually from Johannes. Can problem occurs in the use of big data? And what are the consequences if a company relies too much on big data? Then if a large amount of data suddenly lost, what can be done to solve this?
First of all, very good question, Johanna, on there, because you're now thinking practically as to what happens in the world on here. So just to put it in perspective, organizations, whether that's government or companies around the world, spend billions of pounds securing and storing their data wherever they may be based. So in terms of the consequences of relying upon it, yes, companies will utilize big data as their unique selling point that gives them an advantage within the market for the clients who they actually serve on there. Now, when it can be suddenly lost, oh yes, you think to yourself, there are government institutions or companies, you know, it could be Google, it could be Apple, it could be the UK government. Data goes missing on it because of bad processes and bad structures that may be outdated, the firewalls that we have out there as well. And to actually solve this, it takes people who come into an organization with fresh ideas. And this is where good leadership comes into it, that you can't teach good leadership for it from people. Some people just have a knack for it as well, that they've developed it over time. Obviously, you can teach styles of leadership. I shouldn't be so blunt on it, but it's a case of I go to meetings where you want to have it that everyone who's there should have their own say. They want to have their own discussion. They want to have their own ideas. Everyone here has got different experiences, and I can't remember to paraphrase who the organizer, who the quote is from, but it's a case of everyone you meet in your life will have a bit of information and will be a specialist of something. They will have ideas. So never underestimate that whoever is in your organization in the future will have an idea. They may have seen something within their role that you could actually benefit from. So it's a case of taking an understanding of different colleagues, different situations. And when you have control of a meeting and a situation, you're in control. That I could look on here and say, oh, well, Gracia's on the call and Viesta's on the call and Clover's on the call. What do you think of this? And you could get a direct answer from them as well. And it should be a collaboratory sort of aspect for it. So utilizing it, utilizing the big data is one thing, but then the actual people skills on top of it with leadership should hopefully get you to a better outcome as well. And you will make mistakes in your career. I just want to make that completely plain to everyone here today. You will make mistakes. It is okay to make mistakes. It's one of those things that lots of people get bogged down at sometimes. I've made mistakes. Alan, I'm sure, has made mistakes. Josh has, you know, these sort of things in our careers. It's all right. But it's from those mistakes you actually learn lessons from it. It's not failure. You're learning lessons. And that's one of the things in life. Everyone has what they call is a parachute of life, okay? Where you get to the cliff edge sometimes in your career, in your life, you're doing little things, and then you either jump and take the risk and your parachute will open, or you can be like some people and they just never use their parachute at all. So the final things for today is make sure you use your parachute, because life is too short sometimes. It's okay. So yes, I hope that explains, Alan, from a different parachute analogy for you there.
Thank you very much, Tim. So that's pretty much sum up Johannes' questions, and that's also wrap up our today's webinar. Actually, it doesn't feel times is very short, isn't it? All right. That being said, I would like again to thank you to James as well here as our main speaker today, to also Bu Hani Karunia, as well as to Dr. Joshua Tarikan for today's speaker as well. That being said, I will be returning these sessions back into the MC, which is Ken and Lindsay, to be able to follow up with a photo session. Ken and Lindsay, I'll be returning the session to both of you. Thank you.